Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This will be the first lecture in a series of lectures or small sessions about the respiratory system physiology to facilitate its understanding. The respiratory system has many functions and includes many parts. It extends from the nostrils down to the small alveoli where the gas exchange takes place. The main function, as we know, of the respiratory system is breathing, but also it has other roles such as vocalization and producing the sound from the upper part, and also it plays a role in the immunity of the body by cough production and protecting the body from different organisms and particles. As we mentioned, the main function of the respiratory system is the act of breathing, which is actually divided into two parts. The first part is the ventilation, and the second part is the oxygenation. And we're going to go over each one in detail, starting with the ventilation. So ventilation is simply the movement of the air from the external environment through the airways into the lungs, which is known as the inhalation, and the exhalation, or which is the movement of the air from the alveoli through the airways from the respiratory system into the outer environment. Understanding the characters of the organs involved in this process, the pressures required for this movement to occur, and the interactions between them is what is known as respiratory mechanics. As we agreed that ventilation is the movement of the air in and out of the lungs, I would like to mention the definition of movement or motion, which is the change in the position or orientation of a body with time. And if we try to translate that to what we're explaining here in the respiratory system, it means that the lungs or the respiratory system in general must expand or change above its resting volume and then go back to its baseline. And as I'm talking about the movement of air, I would like to go back a little bit to pure physics and mention the Newton's laws of motion. I will be focusing on the first and third law. The first law mentions that a body in motion remains in motion, or a body at rest remains at rest, unless acted upon by a force. So there must be a force or a power or energy or pressure for any movement to occur. And the third law states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So if we see the example here of this box, if we want to move this box from one place to another, we must apply some force or energy on one side. And once we do that, we will be faced with an equal and equal in amount, but opposite in direction friction force that will oppose the movement of this box. Okay, so these understanding the interaction of these applied and opposing factors is again what I mentioned earlier, is what's the known as the mechanics of the respiratory system. And to conclude, when we're talking about ventilation, we understand that it will happen only if sufficient pressure is applied to overcome two factors opposing its movement. And those factors are the elastic recoil and the viscous forces. Which we will go over each one of them in details. To understand the elastic recoil or the components forming the elastic recoil, we will have to go over the volume pressure relationships and the compliance. And to understand the viscous forces, we will have to go over the flow pressure relationships and the resistance.